Welcome to the podcast where your next favorite story is already written in the stars.
We're your new book besties, April.
And Tay, here to get your book cravings started and satisfied.
Why?
Because around here, it's faded.
So grab your current read, maybe a cozy drink, and hide your TBR list because today we're talking about book playlists.
And we're also going to create a book playlist to match our lives.
Vibes.
I know, all the vibes, just music in general. We can't play any of them because, monetization. But you can look them up afterwards, listeners, and we're just
Mhm.
gonna give you a plethora of good music and some books, and it's gonna be great. But first, we gotta talk about it. We gotta talk about what's, on everybody's mind right now. And everybody's mind, at least on our minds and our friend group, is like, Taylor Swift just got married on Friday. What?
Yes, congratulations to her and Travis, but
Yes.
kind of
May
funny.
their love just bloom and continue to grow. I'm just so happy for them, but I am also sad for me because I want photos.
Right. Also, I'm so glad that for once we weren't clowned. Like, I fully was expecting when I was
Mhm.
like, okay, guys, I think that this may actually be the wedding. Some local New Yorker convinced me on TikTok, here's all the reasons why this would be a great venue. And I'm like, guys, I'm now officially joining the clown crew. Here I go. Every single time I join the clown crew, it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
awful. So,
I think it was, as it was getting closer, we were like, is it? Is it gonna happen?" And then it was like, "No, I think this is legit happening." And then too, when they started having celebrities pull up and I was like, "Oh,
yeah.
yeah, this is it's happening. It's the day," And then too, I'm sure the video that you saw, it's, talking about the underground, tracks and stuff that run to Madison Square Garden and all the stuff. So, there was people that wanted to remain anonymous about their attendance, they could.
Yeah.
But really cool, honestly, that they had that, opportunity. She picked the biggest venue she could find so she could house literally all these people. It's like, "Oh, how do we not get in trouble by not missing inviting somebody? We'll just invite everybody."
Yeah. Makes it
Anybody I've
super
met.
convenient.
Yeah. So I wish them well. I'm so excited. I'm sure they're on a honeymoon somewhere. I bet England because they have rules about taking pictures of people. They have a whole thing on not taking pictures of celebrities and stuff while they're out and about and things. When I truly heard that for the first time, I noticed I never see people on the European excursion through London or something. It's really rare. And it's because it's actually illegal, I think.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's nice.
maybe she's there, maybe she's on a private island, she can afford an island. He can honestly probably afford no, he can afford an island, but he can afford to fly her there and be on the island. But I just wanna see pictures. Do we think they're gonna do a movie?
Don't know. I also feel like that's clowning, so I'm
Yeah.
scared to say because
My husband is so determined that Happy Madison Productions, those who are not Taylor Swift fans, Adam Sandler officiated this wedding. And so he's assuming that Happy Madison Productions, which is Adam Sandler's production company, he's like, oh, yeah. He's like, we're going to see it on Netflix. And I'm like, shoot, she's got her own deal with Disney. It'll probably be on Disney too. So
yeah,
who knows? And
she's
if
been
they
mad at
do,
Netflix for a long time
like,
because she did Miss Americana with them, and then
that's
they had that
right.
TV show, Ginny and Georgia, I think it's called, or something like that, but they made some jokes about her dating a lot of guys, and then she dropped Netflix from there on out and went to Disney Plus, so I'm like, "Disney, give us the goods."
I know, give us a good also, give me a heads up so I can, plan a whole thing around it because I love me a good watch party, and I just need the little bit of heads up, and especially
Yeah.
too I'm gonna treat this like the royal wedding, I don't even care. People could be mad about that, but I'm like, I get excited for love.
Love is
Let me
great.
vibe.
Right? Which is why we love romance books and ties right into book playlists because there are some incredible book playlists out there that
And they give you
just
so many
totally
feels,
yeah,
it's
they
like
do.
y'all, spoiler, I'm writing a book. It'll come out years from now. But a thing that I love in books is seeing playlists. So I already have a book playlist that as I've been doing this, that give me the vibe of the songs. I'm like, oh yeah, that's definitely this chapter. That's this. I love that in a book. I love being able to put sound to what they're feeling. And then two, just vibes alone. So if
Mhm.
I start a book and I'm reading the very first, I'm like, that set the tone for the whole book.
Yeah.
You're going to put that one in the playlist. That to me sometimes hooks me in general. We talked about that with book dedications where people can say something that kind of hooks you. But
Mhm.
for playlists, there's so many more people that even connect to music. So think
Yeah.
of your favorite song in the front of a book. It's like, I
Sure.
think I want to read that.
That's right.
So
Yes.
we have a couple lined up for y'all today. First one we're going to talk about is Bright Lights and Summer Nights by Kat Singleton. I do love this cover so much too, the
So
iridescent.
pretty.
It is definitely one of my favorites, but what got me on this book playlist is song number 1 is When Emma Falls in Love by Taylor Swift.
Oh, and
That
what
is
a
a s
sweet, like, friendship song too. Like,
literally, I was like, "That is" I love that so much, and then the next on the list, we have Stolen by Dashboard Confessional, which I haven't heard them in years, so I was like, "Throwback."
oh,
And then we have Peace by Taylor Swift. And then we have Summer Love, One Direction, The Prophecy, Taylor Swift, Mess Is Mine by Vance Joy, Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter, The
eh
Alchemy by Taylor Swift. I think Kat Singleton's a Taylor fan too. She would love this episode. She's like, "I'm all for this. Count me in." We have Confident by We Three. We have So High School, Taylor Swift, Paradise, National Anthem. The list goes on. I love all the songs on this playlist, but what's even better about these playlists, people have made these playlists on Spotify. So you could look up
oh,
Bright Lights and Summer Nights by Kat Singleton playlist and it will pull it up for you. And somebody already did the legwork for us, people. They already saved those songs. They're already there. Plug your headphones in, pull out your Kindle or your physical copy, and just start reading. I
it's the
love that.
best.
I don't even have to sit there and pull up these songs. Somebody already did the legwork for me. So 10 out of 10. But that got me. I was like,
I
Taylor
love doing
Swift,
that.
first of all, but then also like you're gonna throw When Emma Falls in Love, so sweet and so romantic, and then Alchemy, and then So High School. Dead,
I love it. I love it.
dead, dead.
Yeah, that reminds me of, like, when I don't even know if they're even still available now, but years and years ago, SJM, she's made it known that she actually writes her books to classical music. She's a huge classical music fan. She made these playlists that you could listen to as you were reading the books, and they were so good. So if you have not done that, if you have not, like, listened to a playlist while reading the book, you absolutely have to.
You have
Highly
to.
recommend. Yeah.
And I like when the authors go out of their way to even share it on their socials. They'll say,
Yeah.
"Hey, you can also listen to this playlist and it will give you the vibes." Rebecca Yarros does that for Fourth
Mhm.
Wing, and she has all of her songs on there as well. Alex Warren, shout out to him. He made the song of all songs for her, and so everybody's like, "That is the Zayden song." People just connect so much to music, and I feel like it's the same way with books. It's very personal. So, hey, if that song gets you wanting to read that book or you're like, "That's the same vibe and feel that I get," then go for it. I say read
For
it.
sure, for sure. Which is perfect because that leads me into the book that I chose for this for a book
Mhm.
playlist is The Wrong Catch by C.R. Jane. I have it pulled up on my phone here. She has a playlist, and I want to preface this book by saying it's not like a dark, dark romance, but kind of unhinged a little bit. The girl is
Mhm.
the stalker. The guy kind of becomes stalker-ish towards the end, but the very first song on her playlist, which is available on Spotify, she's already pre-made and linked the Spotify
I
playlist in
love it
here.
so much.
Yes, and it's The Fate of Ophelia by Taylor Swift, which is, like, snaps for that, and the main female character's name is Ophelia. You can tell she very muchly took inspiration not only from Shakespeare, right, but also from the Taylor Swift song when she wrote this book. She also has Dashboard Confessional on here, which takes me right back. These are so many good ones. There's Benson Boone on here. There is The Sundays. Arctic Monkeys. There's also, Don't Blame Me by Taylor Swift, and the final song on the playlist is King of My Heart by Taylor Swift. It's such a good
That
one,
it.
and it fits the whole book so perfectly.
I just love and she has such an amount of genres that kinda tap into a little bit of everything, and they could almost fit like, you have rage, you have
Yeah.
happiness, you have love, you have sadness. She's got some sad songs. You can really feel and relate to a lot of those, so it's nice that these book authors can tie it back to that, but also too, really tie in to some songs that maybe we haven't heard in a while or
Yeah.
songs that you haven't heard, and then you can kinda maybe find a new artist too that you like, and you're like, "Wow, I didn't know they made music that felt like this, and I really like the way this makes me feel." So, that's
Yeah.
awesome. I like that. That was a good one to end on. I picked a series because when I picked up the book to check the playlist, I realized that both books had playlists. So, anyways, I've also found somebody that did the whole series. They took each playlist from the book and made it into one also on Spotify. So, thank you who did the legwork on that one. But this series is called the Save You series. So, there's Save Me, Save You, and Save Us. And if anybody has watched on Amazon Prime, it's called the Maxton Hall series. It is so good. it got me hooked, and then it got me reading the books. Originally, the show, when it first came out, was completely in German and subtitled. Well, since then, they actually dubbed it over in English, so even though they're speaking in German, they're talking in English, so that's nice. So you can actually follow along. It's really hard for me. I love subtitle shows, but I have to be able to sit down and read them, and, mom, it's impossible for me to sit down and enjoy
Yeah.
anything and sit there and read, so anything that, like, has sound and I can move around the room and hear it is really nice, but the love story is so good. These
Mm,
2 are, from 2 different sides of the tracks, you know what I mean? She's poor in her family, and the guy in this is rich. Well, she goes to the school because it's a private school, and her parents spend all this money for her to go there. And then his parents is like a drop in the bucket. It means nothing to
yeah.
them, but they're at the same school together. He's a bad boy, does drugs, all the things. And she's a good straight laced girl, makes good grades, and, really set something for herself and is like, I want to do this, and really determined. So they cross paths, end up falling in love. Of course, he turns on a good streak. She ends up, taking on that I can save him kind of attitude. So the perfect title of it being Save You, Save Me, Save Us is really on par for this series. But super, super good. But this is our first book here. And the songs that are Delicate by Damian Rice, which I have not heard of him before, but I did listen to the song before. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so good. You and Me by Niall Horan, Lonely by Demi Lovato, Dress by Taylor Swift, which I'm going to say that's one of her most sexy songs, I
Oh,
would say.
for
So
sure.
Dress by Taylor Swift. And then we have Camila Cabello, we have Shawn Mendes, and then we have the acoustic version of a Demi Lovato song, No Promises. So pretty stellar lineup with that first book. In the second book, we have some more artists going on. We have Death Cab for Cutie. We actually have 2 songs by them. We have Save Me by BTS, which my little heart of Jungkook is like, yes, I love that they have a BTS reference. We have Slow Hands, also by Niall. We have Meet Me in the Hallway by Harry Styles. We have Drake. We have Iron and Wine, and we also have Shawn Mendes again. So
Wow.
it's just a stellar group of artists really for the books that they've picked for these, but I didn't realize that they had that for the series, but it really like kind of encapsulates too. But if you're wanting to get into it and you're not sold on the book yet, I highly recommend the show. It is very good. But the show actually got me wanting the books. And so then I read them, which was funny because when the show first came out, the books weren't even out because they were still in German. They had to be translated into English, and I remember that following summer, I was so excited when she released them within 3 months of the other because they all had to be released in English, and I was just so excited. I was like, "Oh, yes, I am reading these. I'm stoked," and it is a really good series, so I'm glad that she has found American audiences that eat it up.
Yes. I love that, and I love translated books. Those are really fun to read. Sometimes they,
Yeah.
like, make for a different experience where you're like, "What are they really saying?" But they're the best.
Yeah, because I feel like too, I've noticed a commonality of something that might happen in our culture that seems fine, but then over there you're like, "Oh, okay,
This this is
that's
actually an
probably on
issue.
par."
Yeah.
Yeah. What's interesting too is the actor who plays the guy in this series, his name is Damien, but he is also in like 3 other book movies lined up right now. So he's
Wow.
gonna be, like a love interest in all these separate books that are being turned into movies, but then also too, he's in school right now to become a doctor, and he speaks 5 languages. First off, how do you have the time? Second of all, I just don't know how you do it. That's insane. He speaks like Italian, German, English, gosh, and 2 other languages. It's insane.
Wow.
Spanish and then something else. And then now he's studying to become a doctor. Wow, that's so great for you. Put us all to shame. But big fan. Love Maxton Hall, super good, but the series is also really wonderful. So highly recommend. So me and April thought of a fun little segment where since these books have playlists in the front, we are actually going to think of our lives as a book. Like I have my autobiography of my life, April has the autobiography of her life. And we chose 5 songs that represent our childhood and 5 songs that represent our adulthood. So we can see what we picture if we had a book, what those songs would be. And we're going to tell you why they would be important to us. So I'll start us off. For my childhood, we're going to go from childhood to adulthood here. We got to have some growth. My very first song is going to be Marjorie by Taylor Swift. I love this song so, so much. The behind the scenes of this song, There's an interview where Taylor's talking about her grandmother being in the background and having her vocals sing. And when I saw that interview and then when I heard the song, both of them together really tied it back to my own grandmother. She loved singing to me my whole life. And she actually passed away when I was about I think I was 8, almost 9, and, she was my whole world. We sat in closets during rainstorms and played board games. She was just the coolest person. Unfortunately, she smoked lots of cigarettes, and that's what ended up taking her away from this world, but she was the bee's knees, and so I love that song so much. So Marjorie definitely has a whole special place for me. We got to hear Marjorie live. That was top tier. I remember I was very pregnant and I'm like literally on my way to go to the bathroom or maybe I was on my way back and I heard it and I'm like speed walking back. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm about to miss one of my favorite songs." That was one of my favorites. 10 out of 10. If y'all haven't heard it, go listen. And if you have a grandmother that sings, it'll probably make you cry. So sorry. My second song that I would relate to my childhood is I You Hate That I'm in Love by Only the Poets. This song I really love is kind of like a ballad piece to me, but it has lyrics that says you could have left with I wish you best, but you're bitter instead and you hate that I'm in love and you made a mess of what we put to bed. To me, this is in essence like me as a dater. And if anybody listening that knew me in high school or whatever it is, I don't know. I just felt like I was the friend of first. I was the first girl who got a kiss. I was the first girl who got a car. I was the first girl who had sex. Spoiler. You know, was the first for all of these things. And so say it what you will, it can be taken in the wrong way a lot of the times. And I feel like that was one of those situations. So I had a guy that I had dated in high school, and he was very on par with, we are not a couple. I'm too messed up. I can't have a girlfriend, etc. I literally went to homecoming. I went to his prom. Like we went to these things together. And so I was finally fed up. I was like, okay, you're not going to call me your girlfriend. Forget it. I'm going to go on a date with someone else. The guy was also in his class. Well, of course, word got circled back around. And then suddenly I was a hoe who cheated on him. I'm like, bro, you said we weren't even together. You wouldn't even call me your girlfriend. But no, I'm the hoe who broke up with you. So, yeah. Anyways, so that, in essence, this song kind of captures that to me. It's like you were just bitter. You were bitter and you
Mhm.
took that out. And, and I'm like, and we were kids. We were kids. And he
Yeah.
so over not the fact of this years later, he like subtweeted me on Twitter. Life has like moved on at this point. And he's like, turns out my ex girlfriend does pageants now. At least she can stay faithful to that.
What a
Anyways, yeah.
bitter guy.
What? Right? I was like, "Damn, I broke his heart, apparently, I am so sorry." I honestly re-saying this, I am so sorry. Apparently, I, like, I made your world, and I'm so sorry that that devastated you so much, sir. I don't know. That just captured, like, a lot of the guys I dated. I had a lot of this. Thank God I met my husband because he is the best of the best. He is so wonderful. But that was me. I dated a lot and, hey, it didn't work out. So, You Hate That I'm in Love by Only the Poets was perfect. Next song after that is Margaritaville by Jimmy Buffett, part of my childhood. Now I know what y'all are thinking. You're like, Jimmy Buffett? That's like a 21 plus song. No, think of a girl who got a hardship license that was helping her grandpa drive around, who wanted to really have her own car. Her parents surprise her on her 16th birthday with that car. Her only one dream with this entire car is I don't care if I even get a new car. I don't care if it's an old car. I don't care. But what I do care about is I want a Jimmy Buffett CD and I want to listen to his greatest hits, including Margaritaville. And when I got in that car on my birthday, taped to the dashboard was a Jimmy Buffett CD. And let me tell you, that made my life. I was like, this is it. I've hit big. I am now an adult. I had these big dreams of listening to Jimmy Buffett, and they are going to happen. I still have that CD. It's my favorite thing ever. I can't even listen to it anywhere. I don't even have a CD player in sight, but I still have it because it meant so much. And so definitely Margaritaville by Jimmy Buffett. That guy and me are homies. He doesn't even know it. I've never been to a concert, but I've always loved him since I was a kid. So he is on my top 5. Fourth I'm gonna say is Decode by Paramore. I had a lot of back and forth with Paramore. There was a lot of songs I was like, "Oh my god, I like this one. I like this one." Misery Business was very close for me because in essence, I don't know how many times I played their songs over and over again where I was screaming these or like being very angsty, but also just loving emo music. And Paramore in essence was that for me. So Decode, I ended up picking though, because I feel like tying it in as a reader. When Twilight came out, Paramore doing a song for them in their first movie was like, my mind was blown. I was like, I love them so much. They did this 100% was like sold, but that's my childhood. So can't take away Decode by Paramore. And then finally, Night Changes by One Direction. And really, the song I picked this is because I felt like I had a lot of coming of age things that happened in my life when I was a child. So I felt that transition into adulthood for me was definitely Night Changes. It was like, hey, we're only getting older, things are changing, things are going around. And I was a big One Direction girl, my friends. I loved them. I still do. RIP Liam. I loved every single one of them. And I wish they could just get along now because I am needing a documentary. I am needing something just to heal that little part of me. But I don't think it's gonna happen. But I do love them. So that was the round out of my childhood. We're gonna toss it over to April and hear about hers.
Yes, I tried to include a little bit of humor in mine, at least for the beginning, because I just needed some. So, my first one for childhood is Party in the USA by Miley Cyrus because I was born, and it's such a bop.
It is.
Do I like or listen to Miley Cyrus songs? No, but do I like the song? Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's just fun. Come on now.
It is. It is. The second song I picked was Love Triangle by Raylan because my parents are divorced. Very traumatic divorce, bad separation. Don't want to get into all of that, but I felt like it was the perfect song for that
Mhm.
because kids are always stuck in the middle no matter what. My third song choice was also a little bit of humor just because I needed some of that, but I chose Daddy Issues by The Neighborhood, which is a ballin'
Such a
song
good
to begin
song.
with.
It is so good. When I
Yeah,
saw that, I was like, "Oh my god, yes."
yes, such a good song, and I was joking, I was like, "Well, I really have both issues, not just daddy issues, but it's great, okay, it's right on the nose, love that for me." And I'm not even just talking about my own dad, I had stepdads growing up, it's a whole deal, nobody cares or wants to hear about that. The fourth song that I picked was "The View Between Villages" by my boy, Noah Kahn, who I love dearly, and I chose this one just because I grew up in a small town, and it's hard to say when I think of where I grew up, like, really truly because my parents were divorced and lived in 2 different states, I spent my summers in one state, and I spent the school year in a different state. It was very chaotic in that way, but I've always felt kind of stuck with, like, where home is for me.
Mhm.
Which leads me into my final song of going into teenhood, getting ready, you're so excited, you're about to go out onto your own into this world, and I chose Dashboard, which is also by Noah Kahn. It's off of his latest album, which is so good. If you have not listened to it, highly recommend, which is almost a parody song of him making fun of, at least in my interpretation, of leaving his hometown and being an asshole because he chose to that. People thinking all of these awful things like, you went out in the world, guess what? Your friends are still like your old friends. It wasn't really what you thought it was, but at the same time, it's what you needed. Like you needed to leave to get out. So Dashboard by Noah Kahn, such a good one.
He's such a good storyteller in
He
general.
is.
I feel like there's so many people too that relate to his songs, and especially too in that I feel like coming of age music.
Mhm.
If I did not have Paramore and these artists that I listened to, he would have been one I listened to on repeat in middle
Yeah.
school. He just has this like really great way of looking at life. And even too, I think the things that we've been through we can reflect upon.
Mhm.
But if I was going through it in that moment and he
Yeah,
existed, I would be listening to him all the time.
for sure. My husband likes to call him the male version of Taylor Swift. That's what he calls him.
I mean, honestly, he's like to
Storytelling's
me,
there.
he's a version of if Taylor Swift and Jason had a
Yeah.
offspring because he's got like Jason Kelsey's humor. He is just like peak, I don't care. I'm so unfiltered. And then he's got this just voice and storytelling of Taylor. So best
Yeah.
of both worlds, honestly. A guy who's got humor and can sing, sign me up.
Win.
All right, we're going to transition now into adulthood. We're filled with wisdom now, trauma, whatever you call it. We've moved on. So
Learn some
now,
lessons.
yes, learn some lessons. This is the vibe that we're going into. So I'm laying it out with To All the Girls You Loved Before by Taylor Swift. And this song for me is listening to these lyrics and it says, all of the girls you loved before made you the one that I've fallen for. Every dead end street led me straight to you. And now you're all I need. I'm so thankful for all the girls you loved before, but I love you more. And I love that song because I feel like when you're a teen girl and you think of your boyfriend being in another relationship, it like fills you with a little green monster and you're like, ugh. But like as an adult, I think of all those people that made my husband ready for a long-term relationship. These were all the little things that prepared him to meet me. And that's
Mhm.
kind of the same way I ended up looking at mine because it was like, easily the narrative. I realized when you're a person that dates a lot of people can get flipped of like, you're just a serial dater. Oh, you're not
Mhm.
that serious. Or, oh my gosh, she's always moved on to a boyfriend. So for me, it was like, no, they all taught me something and showed me what I wanted out of love and what I deserved out of love. And so when I finally found that, and also too, my self-awareness and everything at that point was mature enough to handle that. When I found my husband, it's like, I'm thankful so much,
Mhm.
for all of those other girls that had loved you in your life, but also thank you. I love you more. Yes. So I really thought that was a great one. Another song I threw in here was Little Bird by the Jonas Brothers. I listened to the song quite a bit after I had my daughter, and I really love it. I love that the Jonas Brothers are all girl dads and them writing music about being girl dads. Even I was tossed between this one and Nick Jonas has one called Princesses, and it's let's play princesses and dress up and do the things. And I just love that. I love a girl, and that's my husband. He's just a girl dad. There's just something sweet about it. And I love seeing that bloom. It's just like a different kind of love. And so that one had to be on here. Third song, which a lot of these are going to tie back to my husband and my baby because
Mhm.
those are the massive parts of my adult life, and I would not change it for anything else. But "Return of the Mac" by Mark Morrison, which if you go listen to these lyrics, they are not good as far as like a love or anything. But the beat and the vibes are there. And me and my husband, right after we got married, this was the first song when they introduced us as husband and wife. This was a song that was playing when we walked in, and I was like, "Vibes, okay." And then we're happen to be at places, and this song will be suddenly on. Or we'll hear a commercial and it's in the background and I'm like,
It's your
this
song.
song was not popular and then we got married and now suddenly I hear it everywhere. So it has to be on my playlist just because it's a significant part of my life. It just always appears and then me and Austin look at one another, that's our song, boo. But it's not even romantic, but it's just the vibes are there. So that one has to make the list. What is romantic for me is the song by Ed Sheeran. Now, I love Ed. He is so great. There's so many songs. I was tossed between Kiss Me, You and I. There was just so many songs that I was like, I
Yeah.
just don't know which one to pick. But I picked this one because it stars my favorite animal, which is penguins. And one of the lyrics says, she said we are penguins on the ice. We're not meant to fly, but God knows we can try. And I feel like that's just me. I am what I am and I try to do all these things. And if it works, it doesn't. But like if it does, great. So I just felt like that was like a vibe of myself. So I kind of resonated with that one. The song is inherently romantic because it's talking about like him and his partner, but I kind of took it as my for myself and my self motivation. I was like, no, I like there's so many things I want to try in this life. And, hey, if they don't work, great. If they do, hey, I can try and fly as many times as I can. I'm a penguin at the end of the day, but, hey, yeah, I'm none the wiser. Finally, my last one is actually kind of deep. And I feel like it's just because I personally did not realize how big of an issue this was until after my baby. But I picked Survive by Louis Capaldi. And the lyrics to this one is I swear to God I'll survive. If it kills me, I'm going to get up and try. If it's the last thing I do, I've still got something to give and go through. It hurts sometimes. I got to give up. I got to get up and I got to live until the day. And I swear to God that I'll survive. And to me, he's gone through a lot with his mental health and
Mhm.
he's been very open about that, about his struggles and everything. And I can't imagine what that looks like with fame. But for me, that song felt like a lot of my postpartum depression. I had it very severe after my daughter. There were a lot of days where I just like, I have to get through and like, this is temporary and these feelings will change. And then, too, to any of our listeners, if you're having those things, you are totally valid in having those feelings. And I think that was something like my brain at the time was like, no, you shouldn't be having this. This makes you a bad mom for even feeling this way. And I had to have like, a heart to heart with multiple therapists who would say, no, doesn't make you a bad mom. It actually makes you a great mom because
Yeah.
you're thinking about these things and you're worried about these things. That will only make you grow, but also too, you just have to remember like all of this is temporary. As your hormones get better and balance out, it will feel a lot different. And it
Yeah.
did. By that 2-year mark, it was a huge weight had lifted off my shoulders and I finally felt like I could breathe. And so, I don't know, just this song gave that really good vibe of like, you know what? Gosh dang it, I'm going to push through and I'm going to make it and I'm going to survive. So that was a good one because I was like, that's what I want to do and set the vibe
Yeah.
for anything that I face, any challenge that I'm going to go on from here on out. It's like, I'm just going to, tell myself that it's all going to work out and it's all going to be okay and we're going to make it. So,
That's right.
Louis
That's a good way
Capaldi,
of
thank
looking
you
at
for
it.
finishing out my book playlist.
Heck yeah. Whoop, whoop. He's got
Tell
some
me
good
about
ones
your
too.
adulthood. What's your adulthood look like?
Okay, so I went in with my girl Phoebe Bridgers for Graceland 2, which is
Mm.
definitely a more sad, slow song of hers. My interpretation of it though is like leaving, moving out, and things just being it's hard when you're a young adult, right? Things are harder than you often expect. So I connected the song that way. My second song for adulthood was Not Ready to Make Nice by the Chicks. So country song there for the random. But I will say I related to this on a super personal level just from things that caused me to drop out of college after when I moved out when I was young, had to return back to my small town for personal reasons. But I remember listening to that song like on repeat because I was just so angry at a lot of different people, but also at the world in general at that time. And so I appreciated having that song to rage play.
Yeah, it kinda, like, lit your fire. You're like, "You know what? If I'm gonna be here, Imma
I'm
be
gonna be
mad,
mad.
and I'm gonna use
Yeah.
it to motivate myself to get out
Yeah.
of here again."
Yeah, and then I chose, Evermore by Taylor Swift
Mm,
featuring Bon Iver for my 3rd song, just because I think
so
it's a
good.
super romantic song in the sense of having somebody who, like, sees you completely, and when you're maybe not always at your best, and my husband is definitely that person for me, who has been the most consistent person in my life for me, so highly recommend that song if you haven't listened to it. I know for sure you have. So good. That whole album is top tier for me, but the 4th song that I picked was This Is Me Trying by Taylor Swift. So this was a little bit later on in life when I was just feeling bad. I had dropped out of college. I had a daughter and I was just like, wow. At that time, only 2 people in my family had college educations. And it was just this I have nothing. It was probably postpartum depression talking to me. Looking back at that time, that's probably what it was, but I just felt like I just wasn't good enough for my kid. And so I just felt like I was constantly behind all of my, schoolmates who were able to continue with college and didn't have to drop out like I had to were, they had their degrees, they were starting in the working field. And then there I was with a baby and I was like, I have nothing. And so that song was super relatable for me at that time. And it really kind of motivated me to go back to school. I actually went back to school when my first daughter, she was probably like 6 or 7 months. I went and I got finished out an associate's degree. And then a couple years later, I went and I finished out my bachelor's degree. So it was just a very motivating song for me. I know, wild times. But
Jesus.
if anybody takes anything from that, it is
Mhm.
never too late to try again or to go back to school. And sometimes things happen in life and
Mhm.
your timing just isn't right. Like my timing was not right. And then eventually it all worked out. So do not give up. Your time will come.
I think too, with going back to school, it was like, well, I'm gonna be up because I'm up
Yeah.
with a baby. So like I might as well be productive and do schoolwork.
Might as well do something, yeah, and kids motivate you in ways that are just incredible, and my 5th and final song is Midnight by Ed Sheeran. Now, I know he has way more romantic songs, like, people think of Tenerife Sea, super romantic, but Midnight by Ed Sheeran, I relate to on such a personal level because it just talks about, like, no matter what, right? No matter what, you're going to bed with the person that you love every single night, and you know that when you wake up in the morning, they're gonna be there to support you through your day, and I just love that so much because it
Mm.
also, like it mentions a whole bunch of things, but I just love that song so much, and I just feel like, yes, thank gosh I have my person, thank gosh I have my friends that no matter what, the next day, they're all gonna be there for me, so, yeah.
Yeah, he's such a romantic. Like I
Yes.
love his songs so, so much,
He
but
has good
he
ones.
I mean, heck, you went and saw him with the hubby, so that's even like, ties it back to
Yes!
that. Be like, "Honey, I think of these songs with you," and I can just imagine Kevin being like,
Yeah, he's good, drink in his hand, he's good to go.
It's like, "Vibes, I like this." You're like, "Calm down."
Yeah. That's expensive.
Oh my gosh, so funny. I love this. I'm so glad we did this. And I hope our listeners really enjoyed that as far as us giving a little bit of look into our lives and
Yeah.
gave me an opportunity to shit on my exes. No, just kidding, just kidding. Like I said, I'm so sorry. I actually probably broke his heart, so I apologize.
Who knew?
Who me? It was me.
All right, besties. That's it for today's episode.
Make sure to follow, download, and share our podcast socials with your other book besties. We would love to hear your favorite book playlist. Please leave a comment on your favorite platform letting us know.
And join us next week where we're going to play He's a 10, but
And remember,
we're glad you're here because
it's fated.